Okay, it's literally been 5 or 6 days since I've been back home in Portugal and I'm already off again. I'm excited to be off again, but also like I didn't get nearly enough time at home. But it's a short trip. I'll explain more once we get to the airport. But first, today's video is sponsored by squarespace.com. Not only are there some incredible templates to help you make your website look ultra professional, but there are so many tools to help you build a strong online business. There's blogging tools, there's e-commerce integration, and there's even a way to create a members-only section to your website. To get you started, head to squarespace.com/BrendanVanzen for a 10% discount on your first purchase. I'm at the airport and it's chaos. It feels like travel's fully back, but there's all these new protocols that everybody has to follow, so it takes way longer. Basically, all of my trips from 2020 and early 2021 got postponed to late 2021 and 2022. So now, even though I've only been home after 3 months away for like 5-6 days, I have to get back at it because basically I'm working double time now. So it's chaos, and I'm heading to Venice right now, and I guess this is the official start to my my Italy series. So let's catch a plane. Okay, so I arrived in Venice and everything's been delayed, so I'm running a little bit behind. But it said that all the private transfers into the city are closed for the night. It's only 6 p.m. so I don't know how I'm getting in the city. But there's signs that say water transport this way, so wish me luck. I eventually caught the ferry into the city, and first, let me tell you that it's beautiful, a gentle saunter into a city of magic. Secondly, let me tell you that the ferry from the airport into Venice is the most painfully slow mode of transport in history. As great as it is to see Venice from the water, I hadn't eaten all day, so after arriving fashionably late, I met the small group of photographers I'd be traveling with for some dinner, caught some shut-eye, and then was out with my camera well before sunrise. Got a good night's sleep last night, and we're at it this morning here in Venice. This trip we have 1 day in Venice and then like 5 in the Dolomites. And it's raining a little bit this morning, but we're actually supposed to get really nice weather throughout the trip beyond today. So we're kind of down at a really good blue hour spot because I don't think we're gonna get a sunrise. We're down at where all the gondolas are just outside of St. Marcos Square, trying to come up with a composition. So I'm kind of just walking up and down the front of this trying to find a composition. I always tell people when I'm photographing something, find the background first, then with that background, wander a foreground or wander like vertically along the front of something until you find a foreground that matches it. So I've kind of just been pacing back and forth, trying to find a composition. Okay, after walking up and down several times, I've come to the conclusion that nothing's perfect. And I've got to kind of embrace that fact. I thought it might be cool to use the steps here that lead into the sea as a foreground, because there's some beautiful algae on it, and then you've got the boats, and then you've got the church in the background. I thought that here I could try to balance the church between this street light and the pier, and that would work. And then there's another shot just down that way I thought might work, where you've got a pier on each side, and it's cool, but the church is just a little bit off to the left and the balance is a little bit off. So I think rather than doing one photo, I'm literally just gonna panic shoot I'm just gonna take every one of the photos I found. When I struggle with my photography composition, I do the opposite of what's recommended. A smarter photography instructor might tell you to slow down, inspect the world through your viewfinder, or put down your camera and slowly observe. And I know this sounds strange, but as soon as I give into the idea that I'm not going to be able to make one perfect image, I start making better compositions. I feel less stressed about perfection, and I start exploring. I start focusing on the rule of does it look cool? And down here on the shores of Venice, there's a lot that looks cool. I grabbed this pano with the moody sky. Then I framed a gondola launch with a classic street lamp. Another pano, a little tighter in. I even crossed the bridge and photographed the scene from a totally different angle. Though none of the images are perfect, they all kind of work. In a classic Venice moment, I finally think I found my photo, and then the streetlights all went off and the photo was no more. I do think there was 2 or 3 photos there that are worthy, and at the very least I think I found a photo for the next time I shoot this, which who knows when that'll be. Venice is simultaneously the most beautiful place and one of the most difficult places in the world to photograph. It's just nothing symmetrical, nothing lines up. It's frustratingly beautiful. Let's just put it that way. We're gonna grab breakfast now, and then I think we're gonna go on like an afternoon street walk sort of thing, and then find sunset somewhere. In the afternoon, the weather and light lit Venice beautifully. Conditions for a wander through the alleys and the canals were perfect. Just doing some wandering around. I like to do my wandering with long lens, so I'm using my 70-200. I found that the first time I came to Venice, I couldn't stop doing wide photos, and some of them came out cool, but a lot of times they just lacked impact because I had too much going on in my frame. So I kind of want to simplify things a little bit, maybe just photograph some of the details. I've said many times that those big open photos, those hero shots are great. They're cool, they're good to hang on walls, but usually it's the detailed shots that sell, because everybody's got the hero shots. I've always said hero shots will get you likes, but the details get you paid. But while Venice is full of beautiful details to photograph, it can be frustrating. As I mentioned, it's just so chaotic. I don't think there was a whole lot of urban planning some 1,200 years ago. Otherwise, it probably would have never been built here on the swamp. Still, there are lots of images here. I think the thing about Venice is you almost need to embrace the chaos. Nothing is gonna align, nothing is gonna be clean, nothing is perfect. Embrace the imperfection, embrace the mess. That beautiful photogenic mess that is this incredible city. Okay, we've come to a pretty classic spot for sunset. This is Academia Bridge. Yeah, and actually the light's coming out perfectly. There's a bit of a hole in the clouds and some light is hitting the buildings. It's really beautiful. I've got a 4-stop medium grad ND on right now. I'm actually probably gonna put on, I don't know, I'm probably gonna put on a 3-stop ND just to get a little bit of motion in the boats. I don't want too much, but I do wanna still out the water a little bit. And then, yeah, we're gonna just hang out here until sunset. Hopefully we get some color really punching through, because this can be absolutely beautiful. But the beauty is it's already beautiful. Already, what are we at? F16, a fourth of a second, or also known as a quarter of a second. And this looks really, really nice. Like almost any classic view in Europe, I fought with at least one building covered in scaffolding. And being November, yes, I'm really late on these videos. The cloud cover can be a bit heavy in Europe, and the light can be a bit thin. But still, even just a soft glazing of light on the scene leads to some beautiful images. I played with some different exposures, some as long as a minute, but I constantly found myself coming back to shorter shutter speeds of around 1 second. Anything else left the scene lacking movement. Then again, after another solid night's sleep, we wandered off into the alleys of Venice again in the morning. Okay, I think we had a pretty successful night last night. The light wasn't incredible, but it was really good. And it was just good to hang out and shoot as well. We have one last sunrise before we head to the Dolomites. And I've never ever come to this side of the Grand Canal. So I thought we'd kind of just wing it this morning and see what would happen. The light's pretty strange actually. There's a huge cloud here that kind of breaks up and then it's open sky and no clouds at all there. So I have no idea what's gonna happen. This is one of those situations this morning where you kind of have to decide if you like the subject better or the sky. So from the end of this point, we have this really beautiful subject over there, all lit, and it's phenomenal. But to get a cool photo, you kind of want this beautiful ridge line of clouds. But when you go wide, you kind of lose that. So I'm thinking I might need to change my composition to get better light because there's some wispy high-level clouds over here that could catch some really beautiful light this sunrise. But I do really love this subject. So I'll probably just do what I always do and just panic shoot both of them. Impatiently, I waited for the light before quickly deciding that I wasn't in love with the photo. And after seeing some glowing light off on the other side, I bailed on my previous plan and scrambled to find composition with light. In the end, we've come down to where the gondolas are, and it's not like there's not flat straight lines, it's kind of zigzaggy, but there is a rule of photography composition that talks about diagonals and triangles. And if I set up a vertical shot here, I kind of have these zigzagging lines in that I have the gondolas pushing across to the buildings on the other side, and then the diagonal of those buildings leading to the tower at St. Mark's Square. I'm not sure these clouds are going to catch light because there is some cloud on the horizon, but if they do, this could be really cool. And even if they don't, I think it already works. The clouds did catch light, and it was pretty epic. The soft dusting of morning glow almost gives the image a look of a painting. And isn't it funny how the sign of a good photographer is that the photo looks like a painting? Well, the sign of a good painter is that they can make a canvas look like a photograph? That was actually a really good 24 hours or whatever it ended up being here. I love this city. It's really awesome, especially this time of year when there's not a whole lot of tourists, and especially in the middle of a pandemic when there's not a whole lot of tourists. But it is a frustrating place to shoot because there's no symmetry. I mean, you have beautiful things like this, and there's no symmetry. Nothing works out obviously. There's no obvious, easy photos. So it's fun, frustrating, a challenge, and I love it. So I want to come back again at some point. And now that I live about 2 hours away, I should definitely make that happen more often. But yeah, we're heading up to the Dolomites now. So that's where the next episode's coming from. Peace.